Ladies and gentlemen, do you think that our BTO policy has caused our social dynamics to change that will lead to more early marriages and then more divorce? Well, right now it's not Mr. Lu saying it. Now there is a proper research that led to this conclusion. Let's watch on, shall we? So today's talk is kind of like a gossip, okay? But yet, it's disturbing as well, So really the question really is, all while we kind of know, right? People are getting married earlier because they want to have BTO. They love each other, yes, but they marry early because of BTO. And we also know that probably it's going to lead to more divorce. I've never had any conclusive evidence, but today, someone did some research, real solid research, and probably lead to the conclusion. So there's a controversy warning. If you cannot tahan gossip and cannot tahan trash talk, don't watch on, okay? Don't watch on. So there is a author of a book called Kiasunomics, okay? Kiasunomics, that shares some interesting Singapore socio-economic behavior, did a research on this. How does BTO affect marriage and divorce, right? And interestingly, these are not some cartoon, Kiasunomics sounds like some cartoon authors and things like this. Prim and proper research, solid research material. And they did some serious research on this. So what does the research say, right? The research does a finding, okay, to see the role of consumption in marriage commitment, right? Evidence from Singapore BTO program, right? So this is done by serious academia, and they actually research on this topic. Do BTO leads to early marriage and divorce? Guess what the conclusion is? So we all know that the resale price are rising and crazy, and BTOs right now are priced at a huge, discount from the resale flats. And lots of young couples now getting married. Why? Because they want to jump into marriage early because BTO is now worth a hell of money, and it could be a jackpot to them. We know this anecdotally, okay? Now there's research finding that prove this. So the academias actually researched this from a few angles. So number one, using macro level marriage and divorce data and proprietary housing data, we documented 3 stylist fact notes. So this one, I don't know what the hell does this mean. Okay, although I'm an economist by training, this one sounds too cheap for me. But that's not important. The important thing is the conclusion. So don't bother, how they research this. Okay, I know maybe the government will be more interested. Some of you guys who are more interested. Let's just watch the conclusion, shall we? Number one is there is an increasing marriage age among young cohorts. There's correlated increase in BTO flats. Okay, yes, right? People are getting married younger because of BTO, okay? And the second conclusion is there's now a correlation between divorce rates, okay, and BTO, right? We're not saying that BTO is the cause of divorce, but, there is intuitively, there must be a reason. Right? People rush into marriage for BTO sake young. And we all know that when you marry young and marry for BTO, that's kind of like a strange reason to get married. And there's a lot, to cause them to regret later in life. According to academia, the residents in BTO flats has the highest divorce rate, which increases from 205 to 2010. In comparison, the divorce rate for residents in all other 3 housing types were relatively low and constant. There's a positive association between BTO and divorce, although it may not be a causal relation. I just read to you, okay? I explain to you. You look at this graph, okay? Look at this graph, okay? And you'll see that male divorce rate, okay? Wait, for BTO, go like that, look at it, like that, right? And the other housing type, right? Housing type, meaning resale, private, or, whatever, they're all pretty flat. In female, of course, if the male divorce, the female have the divorce, right? Same thing, right? One rocketing high up, right? BTO only. Their housing type like that, right? Idiot also can see there is a relationship there. Okay. But in all statistics and economics, correlation is not equal to causality, which simply means that I can see a relationship, but I cannot determine the direction is like that or like that. But I use my freaking common sense. I can tell that, people rush to get married early, later regret, right? And then they divorce later. Right? This is my gut feel, and I think most of you all share my gut feel as well. 3 interesting observations, okay, by the academians. So number one is the divorce rate spiked after minimum occupation period. That's interesting, right? Well, if you want to divorce, why wait until 5 years later then you divorce? Why do you divorce inside? Well, people divorce because there is a jackpot waiting for them because the BTO are priced at a huge discount from the resale flat, right? So resale flat, right, easily a few $100,000 higher than the BTO. These couples, although they cannot tahan each other, they may not love each other anymore, but they love the money because of relationship, right? Wait until the 5 years is over, okay? Then they sell, each of them, okay, will pocket half the returns, right? Half the returns. Why not, right? So people are delaying divorce until they can sell their BTO in the open market, right? And if you divorce during the MOP period, you sell back to HDB, nobody will be shocked after that, right? So the study revealed that the spike in divorce rates among BTO residents 5 years after the marriage, coinciding with the end of MOP, suggesting that some couples may be holding on to their marriage until they are free to sell the flat, right? So there is a financial incentive for couples to delay their divorce until MOP is over, okay? So this is an interesting finding, no? Commonsensically, that's true, okay? And of course, Professor Singh, one of the authors, acknowledged that there are several factors beyond finance that could contribute to divorce. Of course, right nowadays people are more and more modern. People divorce for all sorts of reasons, whatever. But there is a clear correlation between BTO scheme, marriage, and divorce rate, right? Although they say that you need to study more and things like that. I don't think we need to be geniuses to know that, what actually caused all this divorce, right? Anyway. So that was interesting observation number one. Interesting observation number two is something that I half understand. If the female owner of the BTO was previously staying, okay, in a private housing, that means stay in a condo or landed property, okay, the divorce rate goes up. This is very interesting. This is a couple. They now stay in a BTO. The female was previously from, probably grew up or staying in a private housing, a condo or landed property. The chances of her divorcing is much higher, okay, and goes up over time. Okay, that's very interesting, right? Now, common sensically, that's true, right? You're a lady, okay, you marry, you're formerly staying a condo or landed property, means your parents are probably wealthy and rich. Now you're going to stay at BTO, okay? What's the chances of you unhappy about marriage? Well, according to this statistics, seems to be leading it is quite high. So, on the other hand, for a man, this ratio is something I don't quite understand, right? If the man is from HDB previously, the divorce rate is actually higher. This one, I'm not too sure it's the causality there, but I can understand the female one, right? The female one, of course, last time I grew up as a atas environment. Now I lower myself to stay in a BTO. Walao, how can, right? Divorce, okay? Seems to have that kind of inclination. So basically, men, if you want to marry a wife, okay, that's previously staying in an atas house, better make sure you have a path to a atas house also. If not, okay, there's a higher chance that the divorce is waiting for you. This seems to be the conclusion leading this. Of course, this is Mr. Lu extrapolating, but seems to be a conclusion leading from this one. So interesting observation number two. Interesting observation number three is that where the BTO flats are more expensive, there's a higher divorce rate. That's very interesting, right? So let's try this, okay? Let's say BTO is in Punggol, not so expensive. Now it's also expensive, but those days not so expensive. Versus a BTO in Bukit Merah or BTO in Queenstown. The divorce rate in the Queenstown one would be higher than Punggol. Okay, that's kind of, I don't know whether that's true exactly in this estate, but that's kind of saying that if the BTO is expensive, chances are the divorce rate is higher. Well, how do you explain that, right? Where the Professor Singh Tianfu actually say that, no, well, young couples may be impulsively applying for a flat that is too big and put themselves under financial pressure, okay? They may not be financially prepared for the mortgage burden, especially when they have lower income and rely on cash for their payments, right? So because when you have a BTO, if you use only your CPF, maybe not so bad. But maybe your CPF is not enough and you have to use cash as well, they may be financially stretched. This financial strain, he argues, could easily spill over to marriage, leads to argument and resentment, especially where financial support from families are limited. So I agree with this finding, right? A lot of couples, the number one or two reasons for divorce is financial arguments and things like that, right? And what can cause financial problem? Expensive houses, right? And that is where I also need to further emphasize, don't be mad, if you cannot afford it, go and stretch yourself to go and buy a condo and landed property. I'm not against private property. I know people think I am. I'm not against that. I'm against people who overstretch themselves. I don't have to say a gazillion times, right? Don't overstretch yourself now if you value your marriage, okay? Yes. So clearly, there is a empirical evidence, right? Expensive BTO will probably cause a higher divorce rate. And the anecdotal reason is that you are overstretching yourself financially, okay? So this is very interesting finding number 3. Okay, interesting finding number 3. Remember, this is Professor Sing Tian Fu, Provost Chair Professor, Department of Real Estate and US. This is not Mr. Lu talking. This is real academia, solid literature and research doing. Okay, this research was done before the recent change to the 2.5% down payment. Minister Desmond Lee made the announcement that actually lower the down payment for young couples who are still in their studies, tertiary studies, or in national service, right? This will lead to more people rushing in to get married. I don't know how this would change the social, economic dynamics of Singapore. I definitely think that it will lead to more marriages. I also think that it will probably lead to more divorce, okay? And I don't know what's the social implication to Singapore after that. So with a lower barrier to entry, people are for sure going to start their marriage early, and most likely, people like me will, and many of you guys will become grandparents earlier. This solved one problem of Singapore. Okay, hopefully, right? We got not enough babies. Hopefully, this will produce more babies. And I think from a population planning perspective, I hope this work. Okay, I hope this work. So I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Okay, your marriage determine at least 80% of your life success or failure. Okay. So don't rush into a marriage. For you and I, who are most of my audience, I know your age are about the same as me. Okay. Some of you older. Please advise your children to take a marriage very, very seriously. Don't marry because of BTO. Don't marry because what BTO can bring you. Okay. Marriage is a very, very big decision. So choose carefully, think carefully, consider carefully, take some time to think. Don't rush into a marriage simply because you want to apply for BTO. And more importantly is that, if you marry someone right and have decided to have right plans ahead of your life and live your life well, your life can be very successful. And if you, go in for a wrong reason, you're going to have a lot of pain and suffering in your life. So please make the decision carefully, okay? From a policy point of view, I'm not in a position to say whether this is right or wrong. It's a complicated and convoluted topic. But I think as parents and grandparents start inculcating the right values to your children to think marriage, okay, not in terms of BTO or what BTO can bring you, but think of it very carefully, like what success and failure can a marriage bring you if you choose rightly or wrongly. How about that? Okay. So with this, thank you for watching. It's a controversial topic. If you agree with me, happy to see some comments in my comment section or in the 165 Telegram group. Disagree with me, also see you in these comments. Okay. Most importantly, remember click subscribe, okay, in my YouTube channel and hit a like, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye bye.